Hey, welcome to Zoom number 8. Uh, we are back at it. Our Da Vinci lesson will be scheduled to next Monday, just scheduling issues. Yippee indeed. Marty, I'm going to try to remember to uh, listen and look at the chat when we're reviewing things. I'm going to add, hey, be quiet, you two. Sorry, not any students in here, just a couple of followers. All right. This week is mostly a focus week on your work. You should be significantly into your work. Do you have another cut, Jeremiah? We're going to start by watching stuff. Is the link on the discussion? Where can I see it? We're going to start. I also had I watched it again and had some notes. Anybody else have stuff to share? That's the big thing that you're going to need to do this week is share progress. That is something that you've been editing. Okay. We benefit from watching anything. Yes. We're going to start with Jeremiah's piece, which we watched last week, and he took the notes, and we'll see the progression. We're gonna watch stuff. We're gonna talk a little bit, some basic lecture today, but primarily this week is a focus on you week. You're gonna have the opportunity to push forward. Come here, please. These are my teaching assistants. All right. These are Geronimo's kids who I'm babysitting. Hold on one second. You already have Wi-Fi.
I do.
Yeah. 6%, Connor. Jeez. Living on the edge, huh?
Mine is 100.
No worries. All right. Here we go. All right. Does Marty or Alex have anything for us to look at also? You just number 5. Excellent. Let me pull this up. We're going to start here with Jeremiah's. All right. Well, you know what I'm going to do first and foremost, because this was the mistake I made last time. Let's go ahead and share the screen, right? Like that was the biggest issue. Okay, so we're going to share my desktop. We're going to share sound. Great. Share. Okay. Now we're good. Now we can see my desktop and we're going into video editing. We're going into modules. All right. Awesome. Thank you very much. Guess who gets credit this week? All right. Let's do this. Hold on one second. We're going to take a look. Hey, can we hit the lights off here, please? I'm also wanting to make sure someone Dropbox me something. It's probably Jerry. So, did I accept it? I might as well accept. Oh, yeah. Okay. Cool. It's a really good joke he's going to do. Yeah. Let's save the downloads. Okay. All right. You two stop talking, please. All right. And then we want to do this amp. And there we go. All right. Let's go full screen and check this out. Cut number 2.
it obvious?
Oh, what is that?
I'll show you. Magnificent, huh?
Ooh. Ooh, Marty says subtle foreshadowing. What do you mean? What do you mean, Marty? What element? Since you offered that. Why don't we hit the lights so we can discuss maybe, or actually, we can keep them off, actually. All right. Nice revision from Alex. I think it's a nice revision too. Great job, Jeremiah. Comments, questions, concerns, creative feedback. Yeah, Noah.
I felt a lot tighter.
A lot tighter?
For the whole minute, and it felt way smooth.
Yeah, definitely. Right to the point, right? Yeah, for sure. What do you think of it, Jeremiah?
Well, I thought it was a lot more fun because I added that little bit at the beginning.
Yep.
Which is, something I kind of realized, it's not that it's not like but it's not just also what I add.
Yeah, well, that's what's fun about editing is if you're a professional editor, it's not gonna, we benefit here at Gav because we edit a lot of our own pieces. So we probably have written it and then been on set to direct or film it, and then we're editing it so that we know it from start to finish. Professional editors, they're never on set. They sit in a dark room and they get given footage, right? The person who's going to win the Oscar for best editing, most likely, unless it's Sean Baker, probably wasn't on set at all. I think that's the only person who, I think Sean Baker's like nominated for 3 separate things, writing, directing, and editing, which is rare because it's a lot. Alex says, I liked rearranging the clips. It felt faster paced, which was more intense. Yes. And I liked how you played at the end, where we got the reveal that they were a couple at the end. I almost would say, okay, here's a contradictory note from last time, but let me tell you what I liked and what I felt like was I almost missed some more of the tension between her walking in the house and her getting abducted there. You know what I mean? It looks like we got her walking inside the house and seeing that he's in there, and then less than 20 seconds later, she's captured. I almost felt like, oh, I kind of miss one more beat where it's like, oh, I want her to open a different door. I want to see more of a breath, just so that music can build more, so it's scarier, right? Like the only thing that the fast pace does is sometimes we want it to, like, I felt like your old cut was too, like, I for sure love the remodeling, the flash forward, if you will, to her being captured, and then the flashback and everything. We don't know if it's her. We don't know if it's somebody else. I think that's really effective. I just feel like the tension that's built here all the way to here,
So maybe like add the door scene.
almost the door scene might work, or maybe it's just you need 1 or 2 more beats of like going to the refrigerator or something. That's where I would play around with it. I'm not usually a person who's like, make it longer. But for that, in this one sense, it's make it longer. Also, the other thing I was thinking about, and actually Renan, who did the commercials that we watched last week and actually watches all of the lectures, sent me the note and said, Renan DP'd this film. So this was his first film he ever DP'd, by the way. So the production team and the leader of the professional commercials, $5,000 commercials. This was his first student film where he's the director of photography. That being said, he gave me a note which I thought was really wise. Is there a cut where you don't use any of the dialogue?
Where I don't use
What's in your pocket? Oh, you'll find, if you cut out. So this was designed to be a scene study or what we call it, genre project. And the genre project is everyone uses the same actors and the same dialogue. And then they have to fit it into different genres. Obviously, this one's a horror genre. But is there a way to tell this story where it's just menacing with him and the knife and they don't ever have, like, we can just get her screaming? But is there a way to cut out? Like if you go to there to just him holding the knife, to like her crying some more and just a plunge, that would be my challenge to you. What does this look like without any dialogue? Because I think the dialogue is probably the weakest part of this whole piece.
I agree, yeah.
So can you, and that's my challenge for you, can you make me a cut without it? I also, any other notes in class or thoughts? Thought it was really effective. I almost wonder,
Huh.
I guess you go to black because of he's actually not stabbing her, right? Because it's a movie.
I think there's a scene like it's pointing up at him where you don't see her that he's stabbing.
Oh, it's like a POV.
Yeah.
So to me, the cut to black works, especially with your music sting. I think that's effective. I just would go back to where like she's obviously dead and blood's dripping out. Like here, I think she's still dying. Maybe I could be wrong with this. Again, I'm watching it. I've seen this movie 100 times, but I don't remember exactly. I do like this. I think your ending's really cool. I'm just nitpicking here and seeing what else you could do. What did we think of the coloring? How'd you do the coloring? Just in Lumetri?
Yeah.
Did you use any LUTs or any of the,
Doing it all myself.
you did all yourself? Cool. What do we think of the coloring?
I liked it. It really fit the horror vibe.
Dark,
Yeah.
spooky, right? Yeah, I like the red is the flash forward or the murder scene is got that pink tone to it. I feel like there's a couple times where the shots don't match that well that I would encourage you to think about. Most specifically, the one that bothered me the most,
Kinda yellow there, I just noticed.
that's this projector. It's more pinky on here, but just know the projector. Here's a great note to any colorist or anyone coloring anywhere you're lighting. And if you're watching it like on the big screen, say the big screen that's going to show up at the film showcase, the projector there looks different than your laptop, which is going to look different than on a TV. So if you can, I always say preview your thing before on the big screen that you're going to want to see, because big time last showcase they had an old projector and it was dim or dark and everything that was dark was impossible to see. And personally my film, I made it like a super dark film, like intentionally, and it was impossible to watch. Like it was so like I was embarrassed afterwards because I'm like, well, that's not how I intended it at all. This shot right here specifically.
It's kind of greenish yellow.
Yeah. Oh, there's this the one. Yeah. This one feels like you either have to increase the pink or bring down the darkness specifically. If you go from here to there, it definitely doesn't match, right? That would be one I would look at. This reaction shot. Also this shot, because of the white light, I think that's cool. Like, but we lose some of the pink there. So think about the coloring in this shot too. The only other thing I might note, let's see, that's outside. I feel like
Theater's got a new projector.
the theater does have a new projector this year. This one shot, the blacks felt really crushed to me. Like looking at Sophie right here,
Yeah.
we got almost no detail. So I would bring it back a little bit because she's just one solid black figure, even in the movement. And just allow a little bit more light. I mean, I know it's supposed to be a dark room and everything. I would actually kind of try to
Can
bring,
you give them like the red files? or
yeah, they have the
something?
red files. Yeah. Yeah, you can adjust a ton. So that's just this one section specifically. I was like, okay, I know it's a horror film, but you can see that this is like this is what when I was showing you crushing the black, you if we looked at your black scale or your the line, it's probably flat at one point, and you almost don't want that because we lose, so it's almost super contrasty. Maybe play with contrast would be the other way to look at it. Great job though. Um, uh, let's see. Okay, Marty was referencing the subtle foreshadowing memes that have been going around. LO. They have the format of hinting on the climatic scene before it happens, which reminded me of this, but this was very well done. Okay. So it's Marty was referencing what the flash forward moment. Sorry, it's a newer meme. I must not know it because I'm an older guy. So it's a newer meme. Is that where it's like oh, it's those edits where like you see the like okay, I've seen those edits then.
It feels like a millisecond of it screaming.
Yeah, okay, good. I get it, but I think it works here for sure, because then like we get build up, but also since we've seen this before, we all know, but the person watching it doesn't know whether or not it's someone else or whatever. So
Use the POV shots.
I love it. It worked great, Jeremiah. Great job. Excellent work. Anybody else have something they want to share today? Ooh, Noah, what do you got?
Send you another video on this one.
Discord, we can do that. Thank you for sharing. Also, I'm going to tell you right now, if you want a different style of movie, I'll give anything to you, okay? You just let me know. I mean, I know we have two up there, but if you tell me a genre you want to try, because you pretty much are going to be nailing this horror project, tell me what genre and I'll get you another student film that you'll be able to do. All right, let's check this out. Phasmo with Friends 2. Great.
What do you think the conversation is after the investigation? Like, yep, you got a ghost there, or yep, there's a ghost there.
Yeah, I like that we identify what kind of ghost it is and then we leave and don't do anything about it.
Yeah, these people paid us to. Oh,
I don't know if this is the room, but once we find the room.
Where are you?
Oh. Kitchen.
Kitchen. Goodbye.
They said it's in the kitchen. And told us it was in the kitchen.
hey guys, I think it's in the kitchen. Tom Cruise, Tom Cruise, Tom Cruise, Tom Cruise.
Came outside. It was like all the way.
Yep, it knows its name.
You're lying. That's not the name. You're right. It's Tom Cruise. Anthony
Anthony
Rook.
Anthony Rook.
Anthony Rook. Are you here?
Okay. Anthony Rook, how old are you? Oh, you're a geezer,
EMF 5.
76. Anthony Rook, are you happy?
Oh. Oh, jeez. Well.
So, how's it?
Party's dead.
Oh, so what we have,
Oh, it just turned on. Okay.
we'll walk out.
Okay, all right. We have EMF 5.
Yeah, that's about it.
That's about it.
Oh,
that's-
dots.
That's dots.
That's
Oh my
really
god.
dots.
That was a crisp
Yeah.
dots. Okay.
I'm not saying anything on UV.
It's like windows and doors.
Oh my god.
No, stay there, stay there, stay.
Oh, wait, UV, I got it. Yep, glass. Okay.
Oh,
All right, let's go.
Nobody died. That's crazy.
Yeah, I know, right? No one died.
I can't believe I lived so good, dude. I lived so hard.
I legit left the house for like a minute, came back and saw you getting strangled to death in a corner.
Great job. Okay. I like that you took the notes from last time, but I do have questions specifically.
In a corner.
What's going on like right here?
That's just the game.
Yeah.
When you spawn in the lobby, everybody is in the exact same spot, so they just kind of exist inside of each other.
Okay. So as a player, the person playing the game, you understand it way better than me, a
Yeah.
person who's seen one other video of
I
this
was trying
before.
that's kind of, I got to a point where I just kind of not gave up, but I was like, the footage I have doesn't explain enough, and if I were to put in edits that like help explain
Yeah.
more than I did in this video,
Yeah.
it would be a lot less interesting
Okay.
of a video, less entertaining of a video.
Mm-hmm.
So I did my best, and when I'm going to record again, I'm going to have the intention of explaining the things that are happening a lot more while we're
Yeah.
to try and help alleviate that. But yeah, that's kind of a big frustration that I had.
So- So I would take, if I saw this video, I would be like, I would take it as like, it's for people who know the game more than anybody else, right? Like, if I'm watching a Minecraft video, perchance, it's not like Jeremiah's telling me like, oh, I'm mining because then I get things and then I can craft things. No, it's like, you know, it's a basic level, right? Like where you know the game going into, and that's what you're searching for. So I'm going to be understanding, but I'll still have questions about that. Some of the like inside jokes, like what was Tom Cruise? Like I know you put in Tom Cruise.
Saying Tom Cruise a bunch. He did not do that before or after. That was just for this single one time we played the game. That was not an inside.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. All right. So it was a WTF or WTF. I liked how you did the zoom in into the book that explained it. I saw that you put notes. My big takeaway, I do like that you color coded who's talking this. Okay, Jason's in white. The instructions are also in white.
That's true.
I would even go as far as like hey, if you're adding notes to the reader, make it a different font.
Yeah.
Make talking font one thing and make it bold or make it impact or something like here, you know, Ghost Hunter's note.
Also, like for white and black, people automatically assume that that's the person's POV they're watching, so they'll assume you're Jason. They don't know your name.
Good point.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, that's a really good.
So yeah, definitely colored. You should colorize Jason and Marty.
Mhm.
Yeah, also like, yeah, because what you're going to inherently like get closed captioning put on your video anyway.
Mhm.
But you're gonna close caption so that you're pointing out, it's a directing way of what you close caption, what you zoom in on. I also think that like, for me, the bigger question, okay, fonts I wrote down. You know, let's assume that I've watched enough to know like the different, I like Tom Cruise. I would almost like at one point do a full screen Tom Cruise with like question marks or whatever. But again, I'm at the point where I'm like, is this a name of a character or is this based off a Tom Cruise thing? Like, was this something I should know about that I don't?
Jason just has a very beautiful mind.
Okay. Marty's dead. So Marty did die.
Yeah.
Then you guys joked about Marty not being dead.
That was easy.
I got that by the context clues, but initially I was like, wait, I thought she died.
Yeah.
So I think it's just about refining. Yeah. I wonder if it's like sound effect cues too. And since you're ghost, like I wouldn't use like the classic YouTube videos. You could do like woo, you know, like ghost sound effects, especially because you're ghost hunters. Which is this video like did answer one of my big questions was like what are the last game you guys ran in, took a bunch of notes and ran out. This game you ran in and then Marty died. I was like, okay, there are stakes. Like do we, and for me, what does it look like when you die in this game?
I do have footage of that. Too.
See,
Yeah.
that's the type of stuff that like I want to know because okay, Marty's choked out in the corner, and then what does Marty do? Just has to sit there and wait for you guys to finish, or
Kinda, yeah.
yeah, super fascinating. Okay, great job.
This is my hello.
Hello.
I realized that I have a mic. I've had a mic this whole time and don't have to write the thing that I'm writing.
Yeah.
But
Excellent.
a flashback to me dying with like a funny sound effect right after Jason says, "Wow, I can't believe no one died," and like an immediate flashback to me dying
Yeah,
would be
like
pretty funny.
yeah,
So
like a black and white version of like just her choked out body full screen would be like would absolutely tell us like, hey, the point of this is Marty died.
maybe with like the wasted sound effect or something to emphasize
Wasted.
like
Oh yeah, see?
oh, this is they're messing around. It's a joke. Someone obviously died and like kind of cut back to that.
Yeah, because me as the viewer who is a super novice, I'm like, oh, so wait, she didn't actually die? Because then when you're making those jokes, I'm watching the progress bar of how much money you guys got, and it says Marty's name there and a question mark. And I'm like, oh, so
Yeah.
but I'm, you know, a
Yeah.
totally user or viewer error, but the goal is to, you know, make it as easy as possible for people, right? Yeah. Great job though. Are you gonna do more of these?
Yeah.
Cool. How long a session was that? How long a game?
That was part of the same session that the first video came from, but those hunts are like half an hour that I'm cutting down into like 4 minutes.
So Marty dies how far into the game and just has to sit there?
I would say Marty died about like 10, 15 minutes in that hunt, and then we had an extra like 5 minutes of like Jason and I kind of fumbling around to get the last piece.
5 minutes after. And so, oh, all you have to do in this game is like say like, hey, it's this type of ghost, and we figured it out this proof.
Yeah.
That's the whole game. You don't catch the ghost.
It's purely deduction. There's no like.
So
capture
so what
that
happens if you get the like wrong stuff?
You fail. That's it's just
Okay.
deducing what kind of ghost it is.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would almost like also like at the beginning, like the ghost hunters, and then like it could be your characters' profiles or your actual faces, and it says just so I know who I'm listening to or watching specifically.
Yeah.
Just for the character's name. So like when I run through, I know that
Yeah.
because also like
There's exactly that too. I just heard that.
you're saying Jason, but which one's Jason, right? Like Marty is, well, I'm assuming just from watching the video, Marty, you're playing a female character?
Yep.
Okay. But easily enough, I could think that like, oh, well, that one's Jason and that one's Marty, right? Because it's unclear
Yeah.
who is who until they're talking, right?
Yeah.
So,
I think the best note is from these last two videos, I'm learning so much about what I can leave in that I thought was unnecessary and what I can take out that I thought was necessary.
mhm.
And yeah.
I like these 4-minute lengths feel really decent. Yeah, yeah. So,
I feel like you almost could make a compilation that's very, like, when you have like a bunch of them saved up.
a compilation of,
Make them all into one big video.
okay,
Yeah.
They
I
don't
was
have
thinking the same thing.
of like the whole ghost hunt. What length do you usually go for? Like the 15-minute area or?
For YouTube, literally as long as possible. You know, it's just like, you can't make an hour video if you don't have any footage.
Sure.
But, if I could make hour videos, I would.
You try to make hour videos the whole time.
Still try and keep the, 3-second cut YouTube type.
So you can clip, yeah. So it keeps people engaged, but also how you're making the money is getting the views to watch from start to finish, right? Like that's it.
YouTube's metric is based on like how long you keep people engaged.
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean like percentage, that means actual minutes watched.
Mm-hmm.
So the longer the video, the better.
Longer the video, the better.
But it has like a shorter, like smaller audience, but for gaming videos like this, somebody who's willing to watch an hour is also willing to watch, things that are less edited.
Yeah, for sure. Like the gamers are live stream viewers, right? So you don't necessarily need to watch the view. I watch a fair amount of the games I care about. I'll watch 3-hour playthroughs or whatever. I'm really into Baldur's Gate 3 right now. So I watch anytime there's new mods or whatever, I'll watch that. But then, then I'll run into like, I don't like this live streamer for whatever reason. So I won't watch that, but I'll watch like, oh, I want to see a supercut of all the cutscenes that I didn't get in my playthrough because I don't have 300 hours to devote to a second playthrough or whatever. So yeah, cool. Great job. I like that.
Watch anything with Super Smash Bros.
Oh. No. All right. All right. Sorry, Marty. I felt like you were talking and you said everything that needed to be said in the chat. Anybody else have anything they would like to share? Yes.
I sent it through Gmail.
Gmail. Let's check it out. Yeah, exactly. Which Gmail did you send it to? Oh, okay. I have so many. Oh man, it's gonna send me a notification. All right. Yeah, why did you get it, Geronimo? I think you've been hacking my stuff, Geronimo. That's not cool. All right.
I know that.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. All right. Comments are turned off. Oh, come on. All right. I was gonna say first. Uh Victoria, great job. Really fun. Okay, I'm gonna tell you right now, this is a video game I do know. I'm a Pokemaniac. I played the first game on Nintendo Game Boy. I've played most of them. My kids like Pokemon. So very familiar. I liked your sound effects. Yeah, I'm assuming this was filmed all you feel. Yeah, that one I didn't get either. I was like, oh, I know that one, but I don't know the names. I've reached a point where I can't remember everything. Alex loves the actual Pokemon game font, which was really good. Yeah, it would be funny to even put like the Game Freak little rainbow thing at the beginning, right? Yeah. Um, or you know, at the end, if it faded out, you know, like how the Poke battles kind of fade out at the end, for your very end. How does it end? Let's watch it again. I think it just cuts, right? Oh, it does a fade out. It's more like a chunky digital fade out, though. Like we can look into doing that if that's something you're interested. I think this is extremely tight. You shot and did this all for class?
Yeah.
Awesome. Great comments, feedback. Pretty tight. Like honestly, for the most part, there was a couple points, if I'm going to be super critical, because this is a very well edited piece, and you shot it on what?
On my phone.
Your iPhone or Android? iPhone looks good. Yeah, great job. And you edited it in what?
I think at the time like After Effects.
Great.
I'm all familiar with that computer.
Cool. Well, definitely cool. And so here's my question to you. These actual fonts, where'd you get them?
I think I downloaded the Pokemon font or Red Pencil or something.
Yeah.
And then I think the text box, I think I just downloaded it.
You just use like a PNG or something?
Yes.
Yeah, it looks really clean. I liked your music. I like the main characters, the monkey and the the bear. And I liked you putting in, so yeah, definitely After Effects, you did some basic animation to track. You use tracking at all with your Pokeball or with the faces?
I think I just use position.
Position and you manually enter that in. We'll talk more about that when we talk about After Effects in the future class. But yeah, just really, really slick. I thought your music editing was good. There were a couple moments where I wish there was a little bit more sound effects, like when the characters were moving, but maybe it's just I'm so Pokemon brained. I was like, okay, if Bulbasaur was doing quick attack, I'd hear the doot, doot, doot before it did the jump, right? Or maybe that's from the anime. I don't know. But honestly, I mean, who threw the second ball? Because Bulbasaur. So the monkey totally had type advantage, but it seemed like that Bulbasaur is heavily leveled if it was like doing that damage to Bulbasaur, right?
What would have been really funny is when they hit the wall, they come back, you know, the noise that it makes when you bump into the wall, like boom, boom.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been really funny. if that was done.
Yeah, I think just a little more sound design would actually, I mean, for the most part. Also, let's watch this again.
The Amogus with the star-based Pokemon is awesome.
Did we lose audio? Oh, okay, there we go. Okay, the only thing I would suggest is like crossing the franchise a little bit, and why not put in the Among Us like meeting called sound effect, you know, that like that snare or whatever, you know, right when you get a meeting call or like, you know, it's an alert, something at the beginning or the end, like since I didn't know, I'm like, oh, the Mungus character is showing up. Are we about to see these things be murdered, right? But I think it like just a little bit of like Among Us music would be fun, and then we find out it's just another Pokemon trainer, right? Sorry, go ahead.
Was like, I just need another plushie. I didn't really think about the crossing over franchise thing. I just needed another
Well, I think that you can put in just like the subtle nod cue to that and then go back to the Pokemon music. I think that like, especially for my kids, the Among Us and the Pokemon drew, you know, they're on their iPads right now, but I saw them look up multiple times because they recognize the Pokemon. They like Pokemon, they like Among Us. So I think that's something to think about. You don't have to. Just total note. It's what I would do. Like just, hey, it's an Among Us character. It's a reference. I think it would be funny. These are really funny. What game is this one from?
I think it's Pokemon Sun and Moon.
That's one I had. Okay, that's the one with like the island forms. It's one of the only two I haven't played, so that's why this one is super unfamiliar. Yeah, I've only never played this, and I've never played Black and White. Yeah, I heard they're both good. Alora version, right? Yeah, pretty much a pretty big Pokemaniac. Sorry, so this is right in my wheelhouse. That's I like the effects. And they go and eat. You know, they're eating Slowpoke tails or what? Magikarp. Yeah. Great job. I'm really happy. I think just some more subtle sound effects. Anybody else have critical critiques? I mean, I'm definitely gonna watch it again and think more, but like you got me engaged. It was the perfect amount. It was super cute and super one of those stories that you could put together. Now get you in the get you actually I want people to film actual anime in my film production classes. Why don't we ever do like an actual anime battle? Everybody join. We can do like a ace attorney or
Objection.
yeah, exactly. Boom. I just want to do the glasses thing where the glasses are all white the whole time. Yeah. Yeah. Shing, you know, like I've been watching Dragon Ball like crazy. So oh, Connor. He's watching Dragon Ball for real right now. So yeah, he read all of Dragon Ball Z.
What's your favorite saga?
Me or Connor?
You or Connor?
What's your favorite saga, Connor?
The bad guy. Who's your favorite bad guy?
Frieza.
Lord Freezer.
Yeah.
Need a little bit of Dragon Ball.
Yes, yes. We're in Lord Frieza zone right now. And in our viewing, Frieza is probably the best, to be honest. I think you go Cell next. Boo's not the best. Boo just has some of the cooler stuff in it, but Boo is all right. By the way, I think the best saga is the Tournament of Power, to be honest. I really like Super, yeah. The Tournament of Power is really fun.
I think the cinematography is insane.
Yeah. And I'm watching Daima right now, which is really fun too. So I recommend, strong recommend. It's almost out.
Today we're gonna pick up the series.
Yeah. Yeah, he's read all of Dragon Ball Z manga. So now we've requested from the library Super and sorry, I'm talking about this. Super and Dragon Ball. So he's gonna be that. Okay, thank you, Alex. See, everybody are Pokemaniacs. Victoria, this is great. I love it. Big hit. I'd comment or share. It's unlisted. You don't want people to see this. I mean, this is great. Is this the type of content you want to make? Just for fun? What about, so what do you want to work on then moving forward?
For this semester, another like Pokemon, but instead of like using like plushie, maybe like another animation, but with like the Pokemon sprites, something like that.
Cool, basic animation stuff would be really fun too. Do voices, you could do voices?
I would love to try.
You could, give me your best Pokemon right now.
Pokemon?
Yeah, Pokemon voice, right?
Like Pikachu.
Pikachu, I don't think I could get high enough Pikachu. I like Scraggy. Scraggy!
See, that's what I wanted, was just saying Pokemon. All right. Trio, you know. All right. Anybody else have something they'd like to share? Thank you. Everybody are getting full participation points if you've shared. If not, we'll talk a little bit more about editing. Oh, you know what? Renan wanted me to show something. So let me bring this up. Where did I? Oh, it's in Gmail. All right. And then Tim. Me. Here we go. Let's open this up. All right. We watched the 30-second version and the 2-minute version, and Renan was up. Renan was upset we didn't watch the 15-second version, which he was proud of. So let's take a look. What do we think of this 15-second version? Brendan said we could be as brutal as we wanted.
My favorite version.
It's your favorite version, Jeremiah. Well, how come? Because it's so short? You didn't have to watch as much?
One sound effect is like, I don't know, like really high pitched in there.
It might have just been net noise or something, right? Like the actual squelch of the machine. Oh, it's 15 seconds. Let's shout it out. That right there? All right. So it was like the diesel steam noise, right? Which might have been might have been put in post. It's giving us that truck vibe, right? And again, we're listening to it on like a giant screen, whereas this is probably a YouTube ad or an email probably. My bigger critique is, and I'm sure it's probably a note from the clients. This information on the screen for the 2 seconds it's on is impossible to see on the first time. So you really have to go back and get it. Odds are it's going to be in the email already. So you have to just be like, what's the point of this? For me, like we got the name of the thing 100 times, right? Like if we don't know the name at this point, honestly, I would just do the website and the phone number. Fax, guys. A fax number? How do you fax something? Does anybody have a fax machine? Again, this is a couple of years old, but this is something that like ag people and business people don't understand. It's like your email is a fax, right? Like we don't fax, no one faxes anything, really. You're going to scan and just email a PDF. So why not put in email? They probably know, I've worked with clients like this. They probably don't have email, or maybe they don't. For me, they have it. They have a website and they have a video that for here, but yeah. As the person, like the company I run, do all the socials for, first thing I did was delete all the fax numbers off of anything public, because it's like, there's no point in faxing. It's just email us, whatever. It's kind of an old school thing. That being said, no problem. I'm sure this might have been a note from the client. Any other notes? Yeah, I thought, I get what you're saying. I thought this is hard to read. On this one, it does go to a second shot, which makes it easier to see. Well, that actually, this is harder to read there. It's the third shot. There we go. Now we can see it.
The back shadow, the shadowing on that is, I don't know if the opacity is different.
It's a drop shadow, is what you're talking about?
The drop shadow, I don't know if the opacity is all the way or if they like had it be diffused, but it feels so non-existent on the RMC engineering, whereas you can see it very starkly on the blue and the red light every time.
Okay, as a video professional, looking at this one shot alone, just looking at this one shot, I can tell that the graphics here are two separate things or three separate things. Number one, the RMC engineering, that looks like it might be a PDF or a PNG or a single file. It might be their logo that they gave to Renan, because you can kind of see this definitely pops way more. Looking on my screen and looking here, this resolution's lower than this resolution. That will happen if you're designing the graphics in your computer. Like the lower graphics were made in the editing software. This one might have been imported, and then you can add the drop shadow if it's a PNG, but I think it's a lower resolution than what these come out to. And that's why it looks starker, right? Like, and for me, like you would think these two would try to match the font at the very least, but even looking at this level of color versus that level of color, and maybe it's the positioning in the screen, but let's go to somewhere else where it's more even. See, and this is a hard one to put. This one's a hard one to put fonts on top. Not only is this like hidden, but transfer tanks.net, you know, words on words are never ideal. I would have gone. Go ahead.
If you were given that PNG and you only had so much to do, how would you make this exact shot more legible for the RMC engineering establishment in 38? would you like upload the same, photo, but then make it like change the color of it to be like all black and change the opacity and put it in the background to try and like basically force a drop shadow? Or would you, what do you think you would do if you were given that in this exact? plan?
Well, so I have to use this shot as the very
You
first
have
shot?
This exact still, and somebody is like, you have an hour, make it look better. How do you make the RMC engineering look better in this exact moment? I'm just very.
Okay. Uh, I have an hour.
Well, you know,
Okay, first and foremost, can I download this? All right, everybody. This is a good learning tool. Let's download this. All right, I'm gonna download this 15-second. Hopefully Renan won't matter, but how are we gonna make this one shot look better? Well, I have a couple different ideas on what I would do. First and foremost, my big question to the client is how much can I touch their logo?
yeah.
If I wouldn't, my first instinct is they have a drop shadow. I would add a stroke. Stroke is an outline basically, but here, let's open up Premiere. All my media is gonna be, let's offline all this. Let's go file, new project. We're gonna call this RFC, right? All right, cool, sorry. RFC, we're gonna say, okay, I need to choose a directory. I wanna put it right there. Say, okay. All right, we're gonna skip this part. All right, I gotta hide the chat. Okay, skip that part. Let's do this. Let's go file, new sequence. I'm gonna say, okay. And then I'm going to double click here. And I'm gonna take the RMC. See, I called it RFC. So already named it incorrectly. Let's drag and drop this onto the timeline. And I'm gonna say, yeah, let's change the sequence settings to match. It's gonna give me the best resolution. Okay, so now looking in here, we can see this is our one clip that we're gonna mess with, okay? Now, first and foremost, I don't have their graphics.
Yeah.
So I'm not working off that. So I either have to rebuild this, which means finding the font. Don't necessarily have that. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to see the best that I can do is I'm going to actually go here and go to make a screenshot. So the little camera that's right here, it's going to make a screenshot. It's going to take whatever still my cursor's on right now. So I'm going to go and make a PNG and I'm going to call this RMC still. It's going to go to my documents or I can browse and put it anywhere. And I can also choose to import this still into my project if I want. I don't want that. So I'm going to say, okay. All right. Sorry. Hope it's not important. All right. From here, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to open up Photoshop where you can see a math competition state finals is happening currently. But we're going to open up this and I'm actually going to go into my documents and I'm going to choose the still that we're working with. And in Photoshop, I'm going to use this to like steal the fonts basically out of it. So how am I going to do that? Well, first and foremost, I am going to, let's see what happens. We're going to use the AI automated tool, remove background. Whoa, looks horrible, terrible, bad job. Okay. So what am I going to do? I am going to actually refine this a little bit and see. Yeah, really hard to see right there, right? So I'm going to do this. I'm going to go, if you don't know Photoshop at all, this is a completely different lesson, but Photoshop is an excellent tool for a video editor to use as well. So look, now I'm going to do this. Now let's try remove background. And look, it removes more of it. But I could go through and paint it. But basically what I'm going to do is I want to zoom in. And as you can see, like, look, the more we zoom in, here's a big issue with taking screenshots. Or have you ever had a person ask you like, hey, can you just make a still of this? I want a photo from the video you shot. Why is that? Why can't you do that? We got some still photographers maybe in here.
When you screenshot, it basically like compress.
compresses it, right? The other thing to note is there's a thing called DPI that refers to dots per inch. That's a printing tool. So if you want to blow something really up big and hang it on the wall, if you're shooting in video, you're stuck at a certain DPI. You're always at 72. And like you want to blow something up huge, you want like a 300 DPI. So that's why if you take a still from your video and you blow it up, it's not going to be as crisp as if you took a photo. It's just a reality that we live in. FYI, that's a fun thing to do. Okay, so for me here, what am I going to do to make this better? So of course, we're working with this. Honestly, I would rather work with the PNG of this, but we're just going to do what we can do right now. So I'm going to clean this up a little bit, and hopefully I'm just going to I'm going to use my lasso tool and I'm going to mask off. Honestly, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's remove the background. And then with here, it creates a mask. And with my mask here, I can subtract from mask. I think that's right. Is that right? Okay. Subtract or add to mask. Let me see. Paint bucket. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my subtract to mask, but I'm going to change this lower. And then this allows me to like paint off some of the areas, which I'm just creating a mask. This is a non-destructive way of editing Photoshop. And this is actually just let me kind of like get rid of garbage. We'll talk about way more about this type of masking, which is going to be key when we get to chroma keying, which is coming up, and that one's really fun. And I'll give you chroma key stuff to do. So now with my mask tool, oops. And opacity, okay. On a hard brush, okay, see, and I messed that up. There we go. All right, so I can get rid of, oh, look, and I messed that up, okay. So I'm just gonna get rid of that garbage, but really the best way to do this is I can go through and use my lasso tool and basically cut out all the garbage. So what am I gonna do? This is gonna take me the most amount of time to do. All right, and then I can either delete it, or what I'm actually going to do is, since I'm on my mask layer, I'm going to take black, and anywhere I color in here is going to like refine that. Okay, so then, for example, what I'm going to do just because I don't want to spend, all this time doing the whole thing. I'm just going to take establish, and we're going to work with the word establish. Okay. So let's delete that. Let's go back here and select establish. We're going to copy and paste. Oops. We're going to go actually to the layer, copy and paste. Now we're working with that. Let's remove the background. Ooh, see. Establish. Okay, let's go ahead and zoom in, and we can clean this up even more. Because of the pixels, we can see that it's not such a good line, right? We can see how it's got a layer of chunk to it. Okay, let's do that, and then I'm going to do my paint. I just turned it green for some reason. That was wrong. All right, let's do, and I'm painting the wrong layer. That's why. Okay, there we go. Cleaning that all up. Okay. All right. I'm going to now deselect and going to use my lasso tool to finish this part right here. We can just do this. Do it as Obviously, I would spend more time if I wasn't doing this as a example.
But this is what, like, you would have to do in a situation like this where you were given a PNG and it just was not behaving well with the thing that you had to use it with. You didn't have the font.
Well, you told me an hour.
Yeah.
So what I would actually do is like go to their marketing department and ask them for what's the name of the font. And then I would download the font and just rebuild their logo if I could.
If you could.
If not, I would work with this, spend and redraw a vector of their logo so I could have a high res version. Because I'm going to tell you, a lot of these client people aren't going to know what vectors are, aren't going to know much of anything technology wise, which is good and bad. A vector is a type of file usually used in Illustrator. And a vector file is the layers of the logo. So basically a vector file, you could move and adjust everything as individual pieces based off of how many vectors there are. So what I have here, actually, once I clean this up, we can see now I have EST, but oops, you could see the farther it out, the better it's going to look. But again, I'm limited by how much information I have. So you can see it's not that smooth, right? But let's go from here, and I'm going to again select this. Yeah, let's just do this. Let's go file. We're going to export a quick PNG. Now you want PNG into your editor because PNG saves transparency, which means a clear background. EST example. I'm going to go save. And now when we go back to Premiere, we can go here and say EST Bianca Belair. That was just for you, Noah. I knew you'd get it. All right, where did I save it? Example. Okay, here. So we're gonna. Problem is I'm full screen here. There we go. All right, let's drop it into our timeline. Okay, now we have EST, which we can drop into here, and we could see what our image looks like. Let's just imagine our EST. Let's just put it next to that first clip, right? Conmensch. All right. Here's our EST, right? I'm just going to make it bigger, for example, which is only going to make it look more pixely. But you can see it's pretty much the same in the editor. Well, it looks definitely worse. We can see it's not as gradient. I would almost paint this and build it myself. Getting the font would be the right answer. But look what we can do in here. So first and foremost, what can we do? Let's go into our effects and let's go into our video effects. Turn off where it's searching for warp video effects. Let's say image control, maybe, no. Where stylize. All right, find the edges, broke. Video. Position gradient. Feather. Blur and sharpen, adjust. It's lighting levels, extract, distort, generate. Let's try that. Brush stroke. All right, that's gonna actually be a stylized thing. This is a stroke. If okay, so I would just be doing an outline basically. All right, so look, I put a drop shadow on here now. Let's start with the drop shadow. Now, what's interesting about the drop shadow is that's what it looks like versus that one, right? So instantly the drop shadow just makes it pop a little bit more, right? Oop. Off, on. Oh. Already stands out a little bit better. Again, it's just the example. I would actually spend more time building this. But what's interesting about our drop shadow too, is we can actually affect the drop shadow. So let's while we're working on it, we're going to zoom in here. I'm going to use my hand tool, which will allow me to change the framing, what we're looking at. Okay. So now if we look at softness, look, we can actually make it, this is 0. So the drop shadow actually acts more as an outline. But we could also just make it softer, which means you can see the softer shadow kind of is just affecting the spread. And maybe in the right environment with a different color, you wouldn't need such a drop shadow for it to pop out. But let's go 0. I would do that. Now distance. Now distance with your drop shadow is you can see there's the EST moving, right? So if I choose it to be 0, it's basically behind, which doesn't really help that much. Or I could make it stand out a little bit more by making it more dramatic. When you see fonts that have drop shadows, you can do that, and that actually helps it pop a little bit more, right? The other thing is the direction. Well, what's here? Let's make it farther away. What's notable is we can change whichever way. Why would we do this? Maybe we want to match where the light in the image is coming from. If I'm putting a font on something, maybe I like want it to be in the world. Well, depending where the sun is at that moment is going to affect this. Also, the other thing, so we messed with opacity, or we messed with the distance, we messed with the direction, and we messed with the softness. We can also mess with the opacity, which means, look, we made a hard line. Now, what's different from a stroke would be the stroke would be completely around. This at 100% is directionally there. All right, let's go fit. You can see that pops a lot more. Now, it might be a little too intense. I would go there, but if this had that on it, it would be way more legible.
Yeah.
Now, personally, to me, what I would do is use a different shot. But what else can we do to this image to make it more? We could put all the fonts on top of it, and maybe we could blur the background a little bit. Some of these words. What will we use to blur the background? We talked about it before. Let's use the blur tool. So in video effects, we're going to go into distort. Nope. Blur and sharpen. I'm going to use a tool right here, Gaussian blur. And in Gaussian blur, I put it, it's at 0 right now. There we go. I went all the way to 130%. As you can see, we're affecting just the one layer. So everything below it, and in fact, everything in this entire video is now, we have cataracts, right? But what I could do, for example, is then I can take this blur and I can make a mask. So I could, so for an example, if we wanted to blur the word no, I want to blur that, and then I want this. There we go. You know, I could blur just this area, and then when we click off, you can see that that's there. Now, what's notable about our Gaussian blur is if we hit play, I mean, it becomes more noticeable because of that hard circle. It's almost like, hey, there's a big circle right there. Well, what we can do, of course, is mess with the mask. And so there's a mask feather. The mask's feather allows me to soften the edges or go in and out. You can see now if we take a look, we can see that the mask is more like, oh, I have, you know, it's softer, right? It's not a hard line circle. It's a slow transition of that circle mask, right? We can see that it blurs this area. Why? What do you think is the most useful way to use these blur tools? Where do you see in media effect, Jeremiah?
License plates.
License plates are good because you don't want that. Or you blur someone's face, right? Like you think of a cop thing or you want to blur someone's face. This is a great way you can actually pixelate them using all of these things. I feel like, do we go through all the video effects? I feel like we went through all the color correction. Okay, let's talk, since we have a little bit of time, let's talk about the video effects. But does that kind of answer your question? I might, personally, what I might do is I would use a Gaussian blur with a square mask. Let's get rid of mask 1. I would do a square mask here. I would kind of fade that. I would totally click on here. I would do, oh, not just that. I want to do the whole thing. No, is it shift? Is it shift? Let's see. Nope. Want to increase the mask expansion. There we go. All right. And then from there, let me just fit. So from here, I might put this under the logo and then put the logo on top so that the logo pops and that maybe I wouldn't make it quite as dramatic. And I can also change the opacity, how much is blurred, but just a slight blur on the things under it so that when I put these words, check out when I put the words here. Oh. When I put the words on top of the blurry area with the drop shadow, they pop a little bit more. I'm sure Renan has whatever reason was the choice, but that's, I mean, we can definitely look that the drop shadows are way darker here on these versus what was on that one specifically. Just a fun play around. But while we're playing around, let's take a look at all of our video effects. Now, video effects are a way that we can affect our video. There's tons of different elements. We're going to do it with Renan's commercial. Let's turn this off and we're going to mess about with you know what? Let's turn off our Gaussian blur. But let's just go through all the video effects. Adjust. Now, what's interesting about adjust is this kind of allows us to mess with levels and coloring. So you can see that anytime we put in a video effect, it's going to come in here into our effects control. And you can see that this is actually a way to adjust the color levels. Again, everything is masked, so we could draw our mask, we could do a circle. We can control. So this is almost a color control feature. Let's mess with this. Again, extract is going to, I can choose an area and remove an area of color. Okay, we weren't affecting it because I was putting it on the wrong layer. That's why nothing was happening. So let's do extract. There you go, extract. All right, we took out all the black levels, but look, we can go in here and actually mess with the white and black levels. We're making it there. Now, why would I do that? This allows me to see this might be something to think about. Then I could layer this on top. Check this out. Let's do this. Let's get rid of extract here. And let's turn that one on. Okay, ooh, really creepily. I got extract. Now I could also invert it. But I could take this layer, and if I took this layer and I removed opacity, now I have like a way that I kind of made the whole image a little more metal. you know. I mean, it works some places, it doesn't work. It's just an example, especially with the fonts on it. Just a way to play. Extract is one of those things. Okay, levels. Again, it's a color correcting tool. We can affect the specific levels. It's like working with color correction specifically. A different way. There's a lot of ways to skin a cat. Luigi, a lot of the video effects were how you colored stuff before they added Lumetri, but they left it for legacy editors. Lighting effects. Okay, cool. We can control where we can add lights to our image. Now it's digital, but we can change. Okay, let's make it a directional light. Let's make it an omni light. Let's make it a spotlight. You can see where the spotlight, you can change where the spotlight is coming from or going. We can change the angle. We can change the intensity. You can make it look like a spotlight. Fun stuff to do. You could actually add, you could do your 3-point light. You could turn this on and do 3-point lighting. Yeah, okay. Let's make another spotlight. Look, and then we can do like 2 spotlights, right? Like if you really want a mess with that effect, that's some lighting effects in here. And we can actually go through and play with a whole bunch of different options. It's gonna kind of speed round this. ProRamp is another coloring tool that basically focuses on hue saturation. All right, that is adjust, sharpen, and blur. This is where I found my Gaussian blur, but there are a couple different blurs, and it's just the style of blur. So here's a directional blur. Let's turn that on. Now, the directional blur, did I put it on this? Oh, I put it on the layer that has opacity. So let's go back here. Let's turn off extract. Let's do our directional blur. Okay. And then blur length. All right. So extreme blur length, right? And we can do the direction. So why would we do this? Maybe we want to do a quick motion wipe or something, right? But also, like, again, we can mask something. So, hey, look, we want to add, that looks crazy, but, maybe, maybe we would change the amount, but that's going to give us like a Roadrunner effect. Gaussian blur is the one that we played around. It's just a general blurriness. It's kind of an even instead of the directional, which gives you like that motion blur. This is more just like I always say cataracts, right? Like this is, all right, take off my glasses and that's what it looks like to me, to be honest. Yeah. Yeah, right. Okay, sharpen. We talked about sharpen already, right? Sharpen makes things that are out of focus in focus. So let's just like turn up the sharpening, right? Oh, cool. 500%. Now we got really sharp. Watch what happens when we watch it. Oh, it's very sharp. It's so sharp that all the pixels are square, basically, right? Looks horrible. All the lines are extremely noticeable. Yeah, right? It feels like it's a bad render, but if you're going to use a sharpen tool, use very little. You can only clean up so much. I think I said that last time. Unsharpened mask. Okay, I want to blur something. And it's going to make my edges less sharp. Again, really using a mask tool would be that. Those are our blurs and sharpen. Channel. We're inverting our colors here. Always fun, right? Like this is the Netflix show. RMC was a good company until it wasn't, right? Like, again, you can change how it inverts. All right, there we go. We got Incredible Hulk, blue and yellow. We can, why would we do this? Maybe it's a dream sequence. But there's definitely other plays to play around with it. All right, let's turn off invert. Color correction. Again, Lumetri, a whole bunch of different color corrections. I'll throw them in. It's all just color correction tools. You can play around with those. Distort. Okay, these are fun ones. All right, corner pin. All right. So what we can do with this is it basically will pin one of our corners, but it allows us to distort our video. Why would we ever want to do this? Can someone think of an example of this? Why would I want to distort my video like this? What do you think, Jeremiah?
A motion graphic.
A motion graphic, something on the screen. I use this a lot when I am replacing a TV in a screen, right? Like my subject is watching something, but we didn't have it there when we were filming. So then I can do this and I can actually manually manipulate and put the TV image in there. Again, After Effects is probably an easier way to do it with motion tracking, but this is the way to do it in Premiere. Also, like if you want to do that thing in Superman 2 where they like the crystal flips or whatever, or you want one of your images to distort, there's tons of ways to do this. Lens distortion. All right, this one's fun. All right, most notably I like turning it up, but we can see, we can like, we can make it look like a fisheye. Oh, it's happy. Oh, look, it's happy or sad. But we can actually kind of create a faux fisheye effect. These are fun. Almost never use it, right? And you can change the color in the background. Beautiful. All right, let's turn lens distortion off. Magnify, I bet we can guess what that does. All right, we can use a magnify tool here. We can see the circle, which is right there. Our shape is a circle or a square. We can change its positioning. So we can actually do that and we can make it big. Look, we want to make the A giant, or let's make the T giant for whatever reason. All right. So look, we're magnifying that. Why would we do that? Well, maybe when like computer enhanced, you know, like you're doing something like that. You want to see someone's head big. Fun tools. These are all things you mess about with. Mirror. The mirror tool is we're going to, let's turn off that. Let's make sure our mirror is reflecting. Here we go. Oh, they're crashing into each other. Oh, no, 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 jeez. And you can actually like choose the angle. Okay, cool. There we go. Fun stuff. Offset. All right. Whoa, they just keep driving at each other. Pretty crazy, right? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Why would I do that? Yeah, exactly. Boop, 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 boop. Cool. I don't know. Why would I use that one? Rolling shutter repair. Now, this is a repair that's going to work if you have kind of flickering. Think about if you shoot a computer screen with a camera, that this can offset the shuttering. And look, it's actually like trying to do it itself in my background. It's telling me like, hey, we're interpreting your footage, but I don't need it. And you could see that like, look, if I turn this one on, my bar goes to red, which means it needs to be rendered to preview it. But we're going to turn it off. It's also saying like, we're not finding it. Spear eyes. Okay, let's check this out. Whoa, 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 this is a cool, like, hey, I drank too much effect, right? Like, or, oh, my stomach is about to explode. Special effect we could do in post. Turbulence displace. All right. Oh, I got in a car accident. YouTube, be quiet, please. Totally Fear and Loathing. Twirl. We can, oh, you know, basically tie-dyeing your image. Again, it'd be fun to do a video with, you know, your characters take drugs. Okay, warp stabilizer is an interesting one and a useful one. What warp stabilizer will do is it'll take an image, it'll crop in a little bit, and it'll automatically try to make everything look floating. So if you're walking and you film something and you turn warp stabilization on, it'll go through. Now, what's interesting is we did warp stabilization on a video that's got like a lot of crazy cuts, so it's not going to look good on here. We'll talk more about warp stabilization in the future. It's automated. It's useful, especially if you want to like stabilize something, but use it on short clips. The problem is if you use it on your whole video, it's going to find a reference point and then modify everything to that one reference point. And also it could totally be bizarre. So you always watch it afterwards and make sure, did this work? And then you can affect some of the tools. Sometimes it's useful, sometimes it's not. I'll be shooting something and I'll do a slow motion and then be like, oh, I wish that was more stable. Sometimes I can use it, sometimes I can't. All right, warp wave. Oh, look, it's like they're scared, right? Ooh. Okay. All these distorts are just all effects that you can use. All right, generate. Generate gives you a color effect. We can change all the colors and everything. We can affect the blend of the colors, which is good if you want to like make a Windows background or whatever. This is something we can also do a blend mode, which you can see depending on which blend mode you use. This could be a really cool thing that you put into your video, right? Like if you're doing something specific. Now, why would you do it? I don't know. This is a cool, whoa, that looks cool. But I've used it before. All right. All right. That was the end of distort. No, we went from distort, then we went to generate okay, there's the quadrant. Okay, hey, Connor and Evie, if you guys talk again, I'm taking away your iPads. Okay, no talking. All right. Lens flare. Are you JJ Abrams? Do you want to add a lens flare? You can make a fake lens flare and you can control like the different types of lenses. Right? Lighting. Or is it lightning? I think it's lightning actually. Okay, so let's do our endpoint. How many segments? We want lots of segments. Amplitude, there we go. We want a big detail level. Okay, so now we can see. Oh, look how fast it is. Oh my gosh. Oh, unlimited power. Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Palpatine reference, everybody. This guy just referenced Palpatine. All right. A ramp. A ramp is like a gradient ramp. So it goes from one color to another. You can scatter it. You can make effect. This is all a lighting thing. Radial ramp. David Lynch dream sequence or something. All right. We're going to go over more of this in the future, but let's talk about image control. All right. I'm only going to do this one more and we'll be done. Okay, black and white. This one will just automatically change it to black and white. We saw that we could do it multiple ways. We could desaturate something, but this is just basic black and white, okay? This is image control. Color pass. All right, the color pass, we can control how much color goes in and out. We can reverse it. And then we can actually, let's go ahead and let's choose a color there. It'll actually kind of reduce how much color. Color replace. All right, this one's a more fun one. All right, our target color is going to be this color right here. Oops. Let me. In theory, okay, am I clicking it bad? I want to replace. Am I just clicking weird? Okay. That's my problem. Okay, I want to do my dropper tool and I want to choose this color right here. Okay. Everywhere that's in that image is that color. And now everywhere in this image, I'm gonna double click here. Of course, I'm going to go Shrek green and say, okay. All right. Well, it turned darker. So of course we would make it better. And last one for today is gamma correction. Let's turn off our color replace. What's up?
Gamma, like Bruce Banner.
Yeah, just like Bruce Banner. Gamma is a part of the light spectrum, so we can actually adjust the gamma, which is again the darkness versus the light. Again, it's a color correction tool.
Pressure radiation.
Okay, that's going to be it for today. I'm going to let you work on your stuff. Please go into your discussions, and I would recommend everyone comment on Jeremiah, who's the first one to put into the discussion, so you get full credit on your participation. Anyone who shared today, of course, will get their participation, but you still have to comment in the discussion board. Please play around with the different levels of video filters. We're going to finish it on Wednesday. Questions or comments? And let me see, I've been ignoring the chat the whole time. And good thing that no one said anything in the chat. So I'm going to stop my screen share. And any comments or questions?
Play my video.
I did not play your video. Geronimo wants me to play the video. So let me share it. Well, is this for Zoom or not?
Want it to be.
I'm going to stop recording. You got it.